If you want to build your first stream of income online, don't chase trends, share solutions. Teach what you know. Solve real problems. That's where it begins. And the extra money, he started putting it into a small investment account. That account started small, but over time it began to grow. Every dollar had a job, no. And those little jobs started building something meaningful. Now here's where the psychology comes in. Most people associate cutting back with pain because they never link it to purpose. But when you cut waste and delay luxury with a reason, when you see those dollars go to work building your future, you don't feel deprived. You feel powerful. You feel in control. And that's what true wealth is: control over your life, your time, your resources. There was a time I too had to tighten the belt. I sold off a few things, cut down on entertainment, and simplified. Not because I was broke, but because I had a bigger dream. I wanted freedom more than I wanted cable television. I wanted compound growth more than I wanted the latest gadget. And let me tell you, it worked. Simplicity today bought me abundance tomorrow. So if you want to cut spending without feeling poor, remember this. You're not giving up your lifestyle, you're upgrading your mindset. Waste nothing, delay luxuries, spend on growth, and most importantly, give your money a mission. Because when your dollars stop being emotional and start being intentional, wealth becomes not just a possibility, but a habit. When people think about earning money online, they often imagine flashy results, overnight riches, or some magic platform that rains dollars with a few clicks. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. The internet is not a miracle. It's a marketplace. And just like any marketplace, it rewards value. If you want to build your first stream of income online, don't chase trends, share solutions. Teach what you know. Solve real problems. That's where it begins. Now, you don't need to be a world-class expert. You don't need a team, a studio, or 1,000 followers. All you need is one thing: a transformation you've experienced. Maybe you overcame burnout. Maybe you lost weight naturally. Maybe you figured out how to sell, organize, plan, code, lead, or write. That lesson you've lived through is your product. Because someone somewhere is searching for exactly what you've already solved. They don't want a guru. They want to guide someone just a few steps ahead of where they are. I remember mentoring a man who had spent 10 years in construction. Didn't think he was a teacher. But he had developed a system for estimating jobs, managing crews, and keeping projects on time and under budget. I said, package that. And he did. Wrote a simple guide, created a video tutorial, and sold it to other independent contractors. It wasn't fancy, but it was honest, practical, real, and it sold because it met a need. That's the key. Start with a journal. Write down a list of problems you've faced and overcome. Circle the one that others ask you about most. That's your starting point. Don't build a website. Don't build a course. Not yet. First, validate the idea. Post a short video or a thread online. Share the idea in a newsletter. Ask for feedback. Get 10 people to say, I'd buy that. If you get crickets, refine the message. If you get curiosity, you've struck something valuable. And here's a lesson the wealthy understand. Version 1 is never version final. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it moving. I've watched people spend months designing the perfect course and never release it. Meanwhile, someone else shares a $10 ebook with real insight and builds a business around it. Action beats theory. Feedback refines the message. The market becomes your teacher. And don't forget pricing. Start low. Not because your value is low, but because you're testing. You're proving concept. As you improve, raise the price. Add bonuses. Offer group coaching. But start simple, start small, and start soon. So if you want to build your first stream of income online, don't look for shortcuts, look inside. Find the knowledge you've lived. Wrap it in a form that others can use. Share it, improve it, and keep showing up. Because once you make that first dollar online, not from labor, but from leverage, you'll never see income the same way again. That's the first seed of scalable wealth. Most people carry debt like a weight they've learned to live with. They tell themselves it's normal. Everyone has debt, everyone has payments, and so they shuffle it month to month, pay just enough to keep the wolves away, and never question whether they could actually eliminate it. But the truth is, debt is not just a financial burden, it's a mental one. And when you learn how to turn debt into a plan for wealth, you stop feeling buried and start feeling powerful. It begins with clarity. You've got to see your full financial picture. Don't hide from the numbers, face them. Make a list of every debt you owe. Credit cards, student loans, car payments, personal loans, whatever it is, write it down. Not in random order, but from smallest to largest balance. Not by interest rate. I know what the math says, but I'm not just after math, I'm after momentum. When you list your debts from smallest to largest, and you knock that first one out, something changes inside you. You feel progress. And progress fuels discipline. Now here's the plan. You pay the minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest. That one, you attack like your life depends on it. Sell something. Pick up an extra gig. Skip a few dinners out. Redirect every extra dollar toward that smallest balance until it's gone. And when it's gone, don't celebrate by relaxing. Celebrate by rolling that payment into the next debt. That's the snowball. And let me tell you, once it starts rolling, it moves fast. I remember working with a young couple who were drowning in $38,000 of debt. They were making decent money, but they had no plan. They were stressed, short-tempered, and always behind. We started by listing every debt. They had 5 credit cards, 2 car loans, and a student loan. I had them pay minimums on everything except the smallest credit card. They sold an old bike, skipped vacation that year, and put everything extra toward that first debt. Paid it off in a month. Then they took that freed up $150 and added it to the next one, then the next. 17 months later, they were debt-free. And what's more, they had built the habit of discipline. They didn't just eliminate debt, they gained control. Now, here's where the wealth plan comes in. After that last debt is gone, you take the snowball and roll it forward again, but this time into investing, into savings, into business tools, into anything that multiplies. That's the beauty of this process. You take the very energy you once used to dig a hole and redirect it toward building a foundation. Debt becomes training. It becomes your gym for financial discipline. Because if you can pay off a mountain of debt, you can build a mountain of wealth. And let me add this, don't beat yourself up for having debt. Just don't stay there. Use it. Learn from it. Let it teach you that discipline isn't a punishment, it's a path. You don't need a miracle. You need a method. And if you stay consistent, this method will transform how you handle money forever. Debt loses its power when you stop reacting and start planning. That's how the journey to wealth really begins. Most people misunderstand wealth. They think it's a number in a bank account, a car in the driveway, a house in a gated community. But real wealth is control over your time. It's not just about how much you earn. It's about what you're free to do with your hours. And one of the most powerful shifts in your financial life is learning to buy back your time. Now, I know when you're starting out, every dollar feels precious. You're trying to save, invest, build, and stay afloat. But here's something the wealthy understand early. Not all tasks are created equal. If you spend your best hours doing low-value task things that someone else can do for $10 or $15 an hour, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to do $100 an hour work or $1,000 an hour thinking. It's not about being above the work, it's about aligning your time with your value. I remember when I was still figuring this out. I'd mow my own lawn, clean the garage, go to the store 3 times a week. At the end of the day, I was tired, busy, and broke. And one day it hit me. I was so busy maintaining my life that I wasn't building anything bigger. I had filled my schedule, but emptied my strategy. So I made a rule. If someone else can do the task for less than what I aim to earn per hour, I delegate it. I don't delegate because I'm lazy. I delegate because I'm building. And here's the thing. Buying back your time doesn't start when you're rich. It starts when you realize your time is valuable. Hire someone to clean once a month. Use delivery for groceries. Automate your bills. Set up calendar tools so you stop playing email tag. Every little delegation you make frees up bandwidth, and you don't waste that bandwidth. You reinvest it into learning, building, connecting, resting, or creating. Let me tell you about a young entrepreneur I worked with. She ran a small online store and handled every single detail herself. She packed the boxes, answered the emails, posted on social media, designed the website. Her sales stalled, not because she lacked talent, but because she was drowning in tasks. I had her hire a virtual assistant for just 5 hours a week. That little shift bought her 5 hours to focus on marketing and product development. Within 6 months, her income tripled. Not because she worked harder, but because she worked smarter. That's the principle. Buy back your time and reinvest it in high-value activities. That's the difference between hustle and scale. The person who's always grinding may earn more short-term, but the one who builds systems and frees up time multiplies in the long term. And don't just buy back your time for business. Buy it back for your life. Use it to strengthen your relationships, study your values, pursue your health, and nurture your spirit. You're not just trying to make money, you're trying to live well. And life lived well is always worth the investment. So remember, money can buy a lot of things, but its highest return comes when you use it to reclaim your time, because the one who controls their hours controls their future. Most people think confidence is something you're born with. They think it comes naturally to the lucky few, or shows up magically when the bank account gets big. But let me tell you the truth, financial confidence isn't a gift, it's a muscle. And just like any other muscle, it gets stronger when you train it, not once, not in a rush, but daily, quietly, consistently. You see, people often look for one big win to feel confident with money. They wait for a bonus, a promotion, or some jackpot moment that finally makes them feel like they're good with money. But the problem with waiting for the big win is that you ignore the small victories that are right in front of you every single day. And those small victories, they're the foundation of long-term wealth, because the person who believes they can manage money is the one who eventually multiplies it. So here's what I've learned and what I've taught others who turned their lives around